Hey guys, this is Chris, Tabletop Sports Delaware, and I am putting together this video to go over components, rules, and things that you do with the fantastic new game that I have gotten that I was turned on to by Rough Swordsman Wargamer and ID Jester. It is Warfighter, the World War II tactical card game. This is the second edition by DVG Danvers and Games, copyright 1916. 1916. Here we go, 2016. So let's go ahead and go over what's in the box first, I suppose, just to show a little bit here. Now I've added a couple of expansions and sorted things out. But you have, for instance, let's put that right there. Doink. You have your game board, which folds out, and it's got various things on it. We'll go over that in detail in a little bit. You have your rule book, which covers rules for upcoming fantasy, Cold War, modern, near future, sci-fi kind of thing. Modern is going to be like your Blackwater kind of guys and everything. And it's it's a hefty rule book, but it's not that bad. It's a lot of illustrations. It's not as bad as that might seem. It's a lot of pages, 81 pages, but it's not so bad. This is one thing that helps make it not so bad, and that is the Warfighter keywords little pamphlet that comes with it, and anything that might be on the cards that you may see, any terms such as gear or elevated or detect, environment, multiple objectives, place, maintain. All of these words are here to find very quickly to try to determine exactly what it means until you get it down pat. Then of course you have cards, various cards which we will go over, and you can get expansions. I've got the Shore Invasions expansion, the U.S. Airborne expansion, and also Bastogne. There are many expansions for this game. I've got some dice that come with the game. They send 4 black die 10, 4 white die 10, and a white die 6. I added a black die 6 and some markers and some smaller dice in case I wanted to use them for counters. Just things that I decided I wanted with the game. And it also comes with a few counters, which are not that difficult to discern what they do, learn how to use them. So let us go ahead and show you the game board. Now, as you will see, the game board, it's not a tall game board. It's perhaps 18-19 inches, but it's very wide. So it does take up a footprint if you're doing a longer mission. Over here on this side, you'll see some handy-dandy references, so that way you'll easily be able to tell the attack chart whether there is suppression or whether it is a kill. An attack sequence to make sure that you're doing it correctly, go step by step. A turn sequence, the soldiers turn and then the hostiles turn, and it tells you what to do step by step, so you have it there, easy reference. And the longest mission that this board will take, I presume would be the longest mission in the game, would be 11 locations away from your starting mission card. Your starting mission card would go right here, mission card, which is basically 1. And you have location cards 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way out to 11. There are a few missions, but a lot of your missions are going to be 7 or less. So one thing you can do is just simply make a smaller footprint. A lot of times that is all you're going to need for your board game. Of course, you hide the reference stuff that is on the end of the board, but you can always make copies of it, or it's in the rule book so that way you can refer to it. But here, looking at this portion of the board, of course you have where you place your mission card, your locations, and your objective. You're going to have your action deck, which are things you can do, and also locations that you can discover to be able to play, to be able to move your soldiers towards your objective. You have your hostiles deck, which are going to be enemy soldiers and combatants that you're going to have to fight along the way. Locations, you can draw locations and decide to play them or decide to discard them. And then there are also random events that happen. You have your mission timer here, and each mission will tell you where to place your timer up here, so that way you know how many turns you have. And a handy dandy little setup thing, and it tells you how to set the game up. And I've found that following these little steps, it gets my mind away from wandering too much, and I get the game set up and I'm playing it quicker. You have select region and hostiles if you're playing World War II Europe. If you're playing Pacific, there's a Pacific board and some Pacific cards. And other versions of Warfighter. However, the core rules are the same for every game. Attack means the same thing and is done the same way. Movement means the same thing and is done the same way. Going through your action deck is done the same way and provides the same benefits. So whatever region or type of warfighter game you are playing, the core concepts carry through them all. So once you know how to play one, it's very easy to get a second one and learn how to play it. You select your region and hostiles. You shuffle your action card deck. You select your mission and objective card. So you select your mission card, which will be your starting location, which will tell you how many resource points you have, what you have to work with, and your objective, where you're going to end up. Then you select soldiers and equip them, and we will go through that. Then you place counters. Then you deal action cards. Place soldiers on the mission card, and place mission timer counter. And then you begin to play. So I figure an easy way to do this is just going to go through setting up a short little game and showing you how to play it. So first, obviously, you're going to select if you're going to be playing Pacific, Europe, World War II, if you're going to be playing Shadow War, if you're going to be playing with the mercenaries, like Blackwater kind of guys. So we are selecting Europe, so we are playing Europe, and now we are going to, we've selected our region, we're going to select our hostiles. Now, generally, for other games, I'm not sure, I know it's the case for World War II Pacific, you're going to have two levels of hostiles. And these are your German hostiles, and they're denoted by E and F. E is elite, F is frontline. So these are your really hard hostiles. These are your, okay, yeah, you're just starting out, you need to play these hostiles. So for this game, we are going to play the frontline hostiles. Now, the cards do show different things. So let's place that here. The kind of hostile. Of course, the nationality is right here. Then you have riflemen, and there are other types. There are stragglers, machine gun teams, recruits, ambushers, officers, half-tracks, large trucks, grenadiers. There are different kinds that do different things. This is their reinforcement value, and each location is going to have a reinforcement value, and you draw hostiles until the total of these numbers equal or exceed that location's reinforcement value. For example, and it's an objective, but it still has the same thing. If we had dugouts, hostiles, its reinforcement value right here is 8. That focus is just horrible. I don't think it's going to get much better. That's about it. Take my word for it, it says 8. This means that you will draw hostiles until these total values of all the ones that you draw for this location equal 8 or exceed 8. If you have this many resource points, you can have less resource points, which we'll go over later, which result in less hostile reinforcement value. But to show some of the different ways that the hostiles work, let's start with what they can do. They're all going to have their reinforcement, frontline or elite. Some may have an event where you would draw an event card immediately and resolve it. They all are going to have a reticle, and the reticle has a number in the middle of it, and that denotes how many enemy hostile units there are on this card. So there are 5 stragglers here. You would need to get 5 kills to eliminate this card, or 5 kills and suppressions to knock them out ineffectual until the next round. If there are 5 here, they're going to be rolling their attack here. And they're going to be rolling one 10-sided die, one die 10. 6 and less would be a miss, 7 or more would be 1 wound. If 1 was killed or suppressed, now they're rolling on 4 or 3, which increases the miss range. Same if you have 3 killed or 2 killed and 1 suppressed, now you're rolling on 2 to 1 because there are 2 or 1 of the 5 remaining that are able to fight. And it says whether it'll miss, whether it would be 1 wound. Some of them will say 2 wounds. Some will say 2 wounds again, which means they roll again. And all of them, also, they're going to have a cover value. So when you're attacking them, you're going to roll a die 10 and a die 6. And the die 6 needs to beat the cover. Rolled a 2. The 2 does not beat the cover of the machine gun team. However, it does beat the cover of the stragglers. And then whatever your hit requirement is on the die 10, whether they hit or not. This is a good example. So let's say you needed to, you needed a 6 in order to kill these units. You need, with your weapon, you need a 6 in order to score a kill. This 2 does not beat cover. However, it does get a hit. And anytime you get... Well, hold on just a second. So, if you needed the 6 with your weapon, the 2 does not beat the cover. So, you did not get through whatever cover they are behind, whatever protection they are behind. However, it would have been a hit had you done so. No cover, but a hit counts as suppression. 1 unit on the 1 hostile on this hostile card, 1 of the 2 is suppressed. If this had been a 6, you got it with your weapon and you beat the cover, then it would have been a kill. If you beat the cover but you do not get the hit, it's still 1 of the 2, it's suppression. However, as we rolled, we beat the cover on the stragglers, we got the hit, so that would be killed in action. If you go under the cover and you do not get your hit, then it's no effect on the attack. You've used an action. But that is cover. A little bit on kills and suppressions. A little bit on the dice rolling. They do different things. We have the last thing, and it's going to be different on each one also, is the text. Place in rearmost. Which means it will go to the rearmost, even if you are... Here's your starting place, and you are reinforcing all the way up here, and you have a soldier back here. Place in rearmost, it doesn't reinforce here, it reinforces back here. Let's say you have another one that says place frontmost, and you have soldiers here and here. And this is the reinforce that you were doing here. You would place it where the frontmost soldiers are, not at the reinforced location, the activated location. Well, we'll go over that, don't worry. The dumb. Some increase the entrance cost of location. Say you have a place you are trying to get into, and it costs... we'll get a nice easy one. The observation post costs 0 to enter. However, if there is a machine gun team at the observation post, at the OP, then you'll see +2 and +1. If both are active, both hostiles on this hostile card are active, then the entrance cost is +2. If, however, you have 1 kill or 1 suppression and there's only one of the 2 in the reticle that are active, then it's cost +1 to enter this location. You'll see some others, such as the machine gun team here. Thank you for your demonstration. That say screened by, and this means if there are any units at a location which fall within the range, screened by reinforcement value 0 through 2, that means that these need to be attacked and dealt with first before these can be targeted. So anytime you see screened by, that's what that means. I swear to you. Alright. There are others, and this card says screens, non-recruit hostiles. This is a recruit hostile card. Any cards that are at its location that are not recruit cards, those are all screened by this one. This one must be dealt with first and eliminated before any of these can be targeted. You're going to have some vehicles. Now, some cards will give you a year range. Like, say you were playing World War I, this couldn't be used as 1939 or newer. Some will have an evade cost. Evade 3 XP. If you can pay 3 XP, you can evade this, and it does not come on. You don't have to deal with it. It classifies it as a vehicle. It has reinforce of 0 to 1. So if you were to draw this to reinforce at the half track, then this would be on the same location. If you were to draw this, reinforce is 0 to 1, that is 2. That does not get deployed at that location. You're going to have some others. You're going to have some that will say fearless. And fearless means they cannot be suppressed. If you beat their cover but you don't get your hit value for your weapon and you would place a suppression marker there, fearless means they do not take any, they have no effect from a suppression action. They also have penetration 1. Now penetration 1, let's say that he is targeting Hernandez, and Hernandez has a cover of 3. So he would have to roll a 3 or higher on that die in order for the attack to beat cover. Penetration negates however many points of cover. So penetration 1 negates 1 point of cover. So now he only has to roll that 2. And the failure, because of his penetration, is now a success. He has beat the cover. So that's what penetration is. Ah-dee-da. And then there are some that are just D-holes. The officer. Only one in the reticle, so it's just a single officer. Reinforcement value of 3. On the die 10, 3 or less is a miss. 4 to 7, he inflicts 1 wound. 8 or 9, he inflicts 3 wounds. 10 plus, he kills his target as long as he beats the cover. He kills his target. He is screened by all units that are reinforce value 0 through 2. So they would have to be dealt with before the officer could be targeted. He also reinforces values 0 through 2. So if he is in an area and it's time to reinforce enemy, you reinforce 1 card, and if it falls within that range 0 to 2, it is now at his location, and it is now screening him. So it protects him. He also has the Inspire quality here, the Inspire trait, the Inspire skill, if you will. And what the Inspire skill does, any units that are at his location, that share his location, they are immune to the suppression effect as if they had Fearless. So as long as he is there and is not suppressed. If he is suppressed, you cannot reinforce, you cannot inspire. So no reinforcements would happen if he was suppressed, and they would be able to take suppression if the right die roll happened. they would not be able to take suppression because of fearless. So that wouldn't matter. Those are your hostiles. Next, let's go over selecting mission and objective cards. Alrighty, so here are samples of mission and objective cards, and we'll also go over location cards in this section as well. What these are starting points and ending points and all the points in between being your location cards. Those guys. So you select your mission and you go through. All of them are, well, here are what your locations have. It says if it's a mission, objective, or location. It's theater, or it's area, so these all say Europe. Entrance costs are located up here, ENT. You're going to have reinforcement values. You're going to have your, for your mission cards, you're going to have your resource values, which is the resource points you can start with to select your and equip your soldiers. The time, which is where you're going to place the time marker, so you know how long you have. The objective, where it is placed. So again, you've got your mission card goes here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. That tells you where your objective card is going to be placed and how many location cards need to be discovered in between in order to reach that. And also loadout. It will give a loadout penalty, which is the weight or capacity that a soldier can carry on their person during a mission. Your objective cards are very similar with what they are, reinforcement values, what it costs to enter it, where it is, Europe, title. It also gives information down here. It may be a structure, it may be destroy the tank, it may be clear the bunker. You may need to eliminate hostiles. You may need to eliminate hostiles. And hostiles, again, +1 cover for ranged attacks. So that is a trait, a feature that the hostiles get. At that one, you could have destroy the supply dump, explosion attacks only, grenades, rockets, satchel charges. And it tells you what cover this has, what cover you have to beat with your hit. And it takes how many hits. All of the information needed in order to play this final location is located in there. And that information in here as well for the locations which go in between. If there is an action cost to play the card, it will state so here. That says 1 action to play. Some of them say a free to play. Some of them say you always draw for reinforcements here. Some say this is a nature location. It's also elevated and obstructed, which mean different things. Here, pay 2 XP or move the timer counter 1 space forward if you play this one. So you can either pay 2 XP, 2 experience points, or lose 1 on the timer up there if you play that location. Locations do a lot of different things. Free to play, 1 XP to play. You don't have to have an action, you have to have 1 XP to play this one. Move the timer counter 1 space backwards. A reward for playing that, so you would increase the time that you have remaining. So all of these do various different things. Also, all of your locations and objectives. Firstly, whenever they are played, let's say that you have played Cratered. Depending on how many resource points you have in your team is going to depend on what reinforce value you are going to reinforce when this is played. So let's say you have 60 resource points. It's going to fall within this range, and you are going to reinforce this location with 4 reinforce value in hostile cards. So let's say it's activated. Your first hostile is going to be the officer. That is 3. Your second hostile is going to be the grenadier, which is 0. Still only a total of 3. Your third is going to be the rifleman, which has a reinforced value of 1. Now you have totaled 4, and you have met this requirement. You draw no more reinforcements for this location. And you do that for each location in succession as you move along. And whenever there is a soldier at a location at the beginning of the hostile's turn, then you are going to reinforce at that location. For example, we'll say soldier 1 is here. You have a soldier at that location. If you do, you are going to draw reinforcements if it says to here. Or if you have one that says always draw for reinforcements, even if you don't have anybody there, you would need to draw reinforcements for this as well. And how you draw reinforcements in this instance, it gives you the value, and if the card falls within that value, then it is reinforced. So the rifleman would reinforce here because it states that the reinforce value must be 0 or 1. That is a 1, so it would reinforce. The officer, however, would not. So if you drew the officer to reinforce, it's outside of this range, hence it does not reinforce at that location. The traffic hub, reinforce 4 through 9. Again, if you drew the officer, 3 reinforce points, does not fall within the range, so it would not reinforce that location. However, if you were to draw, where is it? We had it before. I know you're in here. I can hear you breathing. If you were to draw the half track to reinforce, it has a reinforce value of 4. Reinforce between 4 and 9, that would reinforce at this location. So that is how you do reinforcing. There is also one more thing that is on all location cards, and that is a hand-to-hand value. You're going to see a little picture of a knife down here, and it tells you how many actions a specific soldier needs to spend in order to engage in hand-to-hand combat at these locations. All of these have 2. This one has 3. Some of your locations may have 1, such as at the farm. It has a hand-to-hand cost of 1. So that is pretty much everything that is going to be on your mission, objective, and location cards. How they are placed. Basically, you're going to, again, we're in this step, so let's select a mission. And we're going to select house to house. House to house gives us 35 resource points. It gives us 9 time. So in this instance, we would take the timer and place it up here on 9. So we know how much time we have in order to accomplish our goal. That is house to house. Up here, you can see it, good. Objective, number 4. So our objective will go 2, 3, 4. It will go right here. See the 0, 4 right there? Right under my finger? That indicates where the objective is going to go. Also, loadout. There is 0 loadout penalty. So whatever a soldier can carry, they can carry on this mission. There is no loadout penalty. It also says, move the timer counter forward 1 space each time you play a nature card. Nature location. So if you were to play, Ford, because you thought it was advantageous for you to do so, it's a nature location, so you would have to move the timer counter forward 1 space each time you play that card. So you would essentially be losing time. So you need to be mindful of that as well. But we have selected that. That is going to be our... Oh, that's going to be our mission. And now we need to select our objective, which is where we are going. And if you'll recall, objective number is 4. So let us select an objective. And I'm thinking maybe let's... Do we want to screw it at? Let's mess with it. We're going to do tank hunting. This is so going to hurt. We're going to do tank hunting. Let me put this marker back real quick. Goes in there. We're going to do tank hunting. So tank hunting goes in location 4. Objective goes in number 4. Right there. So we're going to place it here. Now, in the action deck, there are location marker cards, and when you get one of those, you immediately discard it, and you draw from the location deck, and whatever it costs to play it, that is how you get your locations to get from here to here. In this instance, we're only going to need to come up with 2 of them. This is getting your mission and objective cards. Next, we are going to equip soldiers. I'm going to do a separate video for equip soldiers completely. I think that warrants its own video, and then we will continue and just see how the videos go. So guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you popping by, and we're going over Warfighter, the World War II Tactical Combat Card Game by DVG Games, Dan Verson Games, 2016. This is the 2nd edition. That's it for this first video. Next we are going to cover selecting and equipping your soldiers for your mission. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep on rolling.